Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feeling bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie, we're here to say it's the Large Marge sent us podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sent Us podcast, your favorite podcast where two Sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And we're out of the spooky season and into alien season. Just kidding.
I was going to say Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving back. We've already exhausted
the
like
season?
the
The one
one Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving
movie, so
movie.
we're not going to be doing any of those.
No, we're not doing themes. We're just doing movies. We're back to just movies
now.
now.
I'm a big theme person. I love a good theme.
Sure. But
now we're
so
just
my
like,
pick
whatever.
tonight, and I don't know, for some reason I've just been having a strange hankering to watch this movie. So
You've
I
been
thought,
wanting to for a
let's
while, and I always
do
shoot it down. Now I'm too tired to shoot anything down, so I'm like, okay.
I'm taking advantage. But it is
Mars Attacks.
from
1996. Wow. Was a very good year.
so Tim Burton. This came at a time in the 90s when we were alien crazy, and we were just consuming all of this alien content, and we were just like more. I want good aliens. I want bad aliens. I want scary aliens. I want nice aliens. It was just all over the place. So you had Men in Black, Independence Day, Signs. Other stuff.
Here's one.
The X-Files.
Contact.
Nice aliens.
Yep.
Really the only nice aliens one, I guess, in the 90s.
Yeah. I know. I want to do that movie, even though it's like super long.
It's very long.
I was very touched by that film when I saw it.
It's part of
the acting.
Maybe it was Sweetie's. Wasn't that
Matthew
like
McConaughey in a really nice wool trench?
Was that also during the period where you would like go see movies by yourself, or was that different?
That's it. I would have been pretty young. How did I get
I
there?
remember you being obsessed with that movie, and I was like, I don't get it. I want to watch Men in Black again.
We are not alone.
Yeah, I finally watched that a couple years ago. Good flick. But tonight we're talking about Mars Attacks. So, I didn't understand this movie when I was little, like the point of it, like what it was trying to get across, why Tim Burton made it. All of that flew right over my head, and I just thought it was this like weird, cheesy space movie. Cut to when I started watching a lot of horror movies, and I watched a lot of like 1950s sci-fi movies, all of this like very like end of the world type of movies that are very campy, let's say. So I started watching a lot of those, and then I revisited Mars Attacks, and I was like, oh, I get it now. It's an homage or a spoof, or both, really. It's a spoof homage of those 50s sci-fi campy movies, and there's a lot of nods to those movies in this, but overall it's really just like a farce kind of movie. Like, it's really ridiculous, but it's supposed to be. And I think that a lot of people don't get that. Like, I don't think Sweetie gets that.
Okay, it's not the thing. I'm just not a spoof person. Like, and I think you kind of have to have a little bit of.
You love Naked Gun. You love Airplane. I love those movies.
Those are funny. I don't find this movie funny at all. You know who found this movie hilarious? Sweeti Jimi. I've never heard him laugh so much my entire career.
It was like throughout
our relationship.
It was the whole time.
Oh my God, Chuckle City over there. I actually told him he had to stop laughing. I'm such a bitch. I'm like, can you stop laughing? It's distracting.
Jeez.
I take it back, honey. I'm sorry.
Poopy pants Sweetie over here.
I was so tired.
Taking
and
the joy
baby
out.
was breastfeeding for like an hour, and I'm like, go to bed.
Yes. Well,
yeah.
I think, yes, it's a very silly movie. So you have the tendency to chuckle at just like how absurd it is.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not like absurdist humor is not.
Yeah, but there's also like little
style.
touches that I find funny, maybe that are just
I
like.
didn't find it clever enough. I don't know. I feel like it could have been more clever.
Sure. Yeah. I agree. I don't think
it felt like softballs.
I don't think he was going for clever, but that's what these movies were like. Like they were just very silly. They were like giant ants attacking the world, like just like silly stuff. So I pay more attention.
The Martians are my favorite part.
Yeah, like, they're very funny.
Regardless,
they have a very funny personality. They're just very, I don't know. I can't think of the word. Like not sarcastic, but like dark.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought they were really cool looking, and the way they moved and stuff was really cool. I remember this movie being okay. So didn't see it in the theater. I've only seen this movie probably once. Before this viewing. But I remember when it came out, and I remember the big thing was there was like every person in Hollywood in this movie, so it was kind of one of those. And Sweetie had said this when we started watching it. It's basically everyone who's ever been in a Tim Burton movie, for the most part.
Yeah, just like the one, just a lot of cameos from those people in those movies, like Juno, the caseworker from Beetlejuice.
Well, let's go over it. Who's in this movie? We always do this
who's
anyway.
Not in this movie?
This list is going to take us the whole podcast. So, who's not in this movie? Good way to put it. So, Jack Nicholson, dual role as the president, but then also this guy who owns casinos in Vegas. I'm like confused why that had to be like a character.
So, the backstory, Sweetie, is, and I'm surprised you didn't read this in the trivia. Maybe you did. Did you not read the trivia?
Someone else was supposed to play it?
No. So the original script was a lot darker.
Okay.
And so there's going to be like a lot more carnage and death. And then I guess when the studio saw that Jack Nicholson's president character was supposed to be killed, he only had one role in the original script. They saw him being killed, and they were like, you can't kill the president in the movie. Like, you just can't do that. You can't kill Jack Nicholson. And he was like, oh, I'm going to kill Jack Nicholson. I'm going to cast him again and kill him again. So he cast him twice and then killed him off twice to be like, fuck you guys. So that's why I did that.
Okay. Yeah, he was great in this. I like the speech he gave at the end, flashing those chompers. Are those real teeth? No.
I don't know. I don't know anything about fake teeth. I'm like, did people get all their teeth pulled out and then get fake teeth instead? Like,
no,
I don't
but
get it.
Isn't it when you're rich in Hollywood, you get like veneers,
caps?
Or caps,
Sure.
where they basically saw down your actual teeth and put on the.
Yeah, that seems
like,
right. That seems right. My question is does Jack Nicholson ever not have crazy eyes when he's acting? Like, I'm starting to think he's like not a good actor anymore because he just always has those crazy eyes. I'm like, can you put those away for like a second?
Yeah, I mean, he's basically one note. You can definitely say that about him.
I watched The Shining a couple.
Bread and butter.
I watched The Shining a couple weeks ago, and there's like a scene where he's like being interviewed by like hotel people, and he's like scenes where he's like supposed to be this like nice dad, and he's still like that crazy Jack Nicholson, and it's just why don't you just stop looking like this all the time? Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Crazy.
But yeah, that's Jack.
Glenn Close, First Lady, very like classical, trying to be like Jackie Kennedy, First Lady.
Like 50s, yeah.
Yeah.
It fits with the theme of
there is like a 50s like vibe to this whole thing, whether the part in Vegas is like that, the White House. There's like a 50s vibe. Whoa, we got a poltergeist in here.
Uh-oh.
Natalie Portman as the daughter, Taffy. Okay, let me just tell you that, Andre, Sweetie, when I say the word or the name Taffy to you, what do you think of?
All right. Puppy training. We were taking our dog Sunny to like dog school or whatever, training camp, puppy kindergarten, and there was this like our dog Sunny really riled the crowd up. She snuck into like the big dog's pen and then like came out with his bone and was like doing laps around the thing. She riled up all the other dogs. This little tiny dog named Taffy jumped on Emily's lap and was just like
it was a wild day at puppy kindergarten, let me tell you.
And ever since then, we've always been like, Taffy.
Anyway, Taffy, best name ever. But okay, dog, fine. That's a fine dog name. Why is her name Taffy as a kid?
I don't know. I don't know.
Part of the spoof, I'm sure.
Really strange.
Martin Short, looking like
those were fake tooth.
He definitely attractive and suave, which was a weird.
I know. I'm always uncomfortable when Martin Short plays like a straight guy, and I say that as in like straight man and a straight like sexuality wise. Martin Short is not gay though. right?
I don't think so.
But I think I just associate him with the Franck character.
Yeah.
So I think like him hitting on being sleazy makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and like loving the prostitutes and everything. Weird.
But yeah, he definitely had fake teeth.
Rod Steiger. So
Who's that?
okay, so you will know him as Poe Judd is dead. Poe Judd Fry is
Who is
dead.
he in this?
The general, 5-star general.
Really?
Yes. So okay, so
Oh my
Rod Steiger
God.
played Judd Fry in Oklahoma. If you've ever seen that, he also is his other really famous role is in The Heat of the Night, opposite Sidney Poitier.
One of Sweetie's
as
faves.
the cops, like he's a cop in the Deep South, and then Sidney Poitier comes down there and like helps them investigate this murder. Blah blah blah. Good movie. Anyway, Rod Steiger, old actor. Pierce Brosnan as the scientist,
The alien expert,
alien expert.
alien, whatever his passion is. Smokes a pipe the whole time. Great.
You have SJP, excuse me, and Michael J. Fox as the media personas of the time. So SJP is like I don't even know.
Seemed like a talk show
host.
kind of host
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like, but she did fashion. I don't know. It's confusing.
Yeah, she was flaky. And then Michael J. Fox is more like the serious one, I guess. And they were dating?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
We're married or
We're
something.
married. Jack Black as like nearly unrecognizable. I mean, it looked like him, but like in the beginning, I was like, whoa, like I forgot he was in this.
Army douche.
Yeah, Army douchebag. Lucas Haas.
What else is he in?
Strange looking face. Here's what he's in. He's the little boy in Witness. You seen that?
But like, I mean, something more recent. Like, I feel like I've seen him in something recent, and I looked him up, and I was like, oh, the kid from Mars Attacks.
Yeah, because he was a child actor that made the transition.
Inception,
I
our
believe.
favorite movie.
Right, I never saw. Yeah, real sweet.
Widows, I saw that. Did you see that?
yeah.
Oh yeah, he was like
The
someone. I don't know. He was someone in that.
Pam Grier and Jim Brown as the divorced couple. Jim Brown is a heavyweight boxer who
Byron.
is trying to get works in Vegas as like.
They're divorced, but he needs to support his family.
Why did he choose that job though?
I don't know. Security makes money.
Yeah, he works at the casinos. Annette Bening as like hippy dippy, married to the Jack Nicholson character who owns the casino. Lady from Beetlejuice, Juno the caseworker. As
Juno,
Sweetie
your
said.
caseworker.
The guy from Little Giants. Don't know what his name is. Didn't look it up. Too lazy. Ray J, everybody, who is Brandy's brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So.
yes.
But more famously known for making a sex tape. Okay, let's say it's his fault that Kim Kardashian basically like exists. So fuck you, Ray J, because that like started her whole like thing, right?
Yeah.
And then Tom Jones. Can't forget about
Not
Tom
unusual
Jones.
to be loved by
Random,
anyone.
but cool. Always miss that bitch. You always hear him sing, and you never.
His
like, you
IMDb
hear
picture,
him,
too much bronzer, Tom.
way too much
Tone it
pressure.
down.
Oh, he, like,
Tone it
lives in
down.
Vegas. So you always hear him sing, so you don't usually hear him like speak. The dude is British.
My mind is blown.
Yeah.
I don't know if
More appropriately Welsh.
I just don't think I'll ever be able to like shake this. Like what?
I know. It's crazy to me too. And then Danny DeVito. Looks like my notes say Danny Donuts.
Wouldn't be surprised. There are a lot of
There's
donuts.
A lot of donuts in this movie.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito, bit part, always effective though.
Look at Juno the caseworker as a young
I know, I
glam
saw that.
glamazon. Danny DeVito. Every time, no matter what movie, anytime I see Danny DeVito in something, you know what I do? I look up how tall he is. Every time. I'm like, how tall is he
5
again?
feet tall.
No, he's 4'10".
Oh my God.
According to IMDb. That's why I was like, what?
Short.
Yeah. So Danny.
Okay, so
Christina
directed-
Applegate also
Christina
cameo.
Applegate, tiny part. Directed by Tim Burton. We already said. I think like if I didn't know this was Tim Burton, I wouldn't think it was Tim Burton. There are like some parts to it, but it did seem like a bit of a departure from his like usual stuff.
Definitely.
He uses Danny Elfman for the music, so that's like a tip off there.
I think it's kind of most similar, I guess, to Ed Wood maybe, and that like he does
and
love,
he did the string of those kind of movies.
He does love like calling back to this era of this time. But there's you're right though. I think it's not like Beetlejuice or Edward Scissorhands. There are some like spooky
like
kind of eerie moments in it for sure that you're like, oh yeah, that's Tim. Like you see him in there. But I think maybe, and this could have been a case where the studio kind of like took over things sometimes. But
it seemed like really straight. Like a straight movie.
It's crazy though.
No, it is crazy, but it didn't seem as like just that weirdness of Tim Burton stuff. That stuff is just like weird, you know? Eerie, as you said.
Yeah.
And like you could have done more. Well, I mean, there were parts of it. Basically, anything to do with the aliens. Like once you're on that ship with the aliens and there's all that weird shit. Like that screams Tim Burton to me for sure. But the like on Earth stuff, not necessarily, you know. Okay, so as Sweetie said, a lot of alien space movies to pay homage to or make fun of. This came off the heels of Independence Day, right? When was Independence Day?
I think before.
Okay, yeah. So if you had seen that, which was probably the most recent like alien invasion movie, make it a little more clear. It does
96.
96. Oh my God, same year?
Whoa.
Okay. So
Men in Black was 97,
didn't do
I
that
think?
on purpose because even down to the part where like the guy who saves the day is like lit with the truck and like living in a trailer home, just like those kids.
I often confuse both movies, and I think this is why I wanted to watch this recently because I think we were talking about Independence Day, and I was like, remember? And they do the thing in the music. I'm like, oh no, that's Mars Attacks.
Right.
Then I wanted to watch it. So I confused them.
Yeah, that's weird, huh? So it really does and like obviously like the aliens are friendly, like welcome wagon. Remember in Independence Day, it's like welcome wagon.
I kept thinking the welcome wagon was going to come out in this. Like definitely, those two scenes definitely overlap.
So it's very similar, and I think that just speaks to like the stereotype and the basically general plot line of every alien invasion movie when they're like, are they good or bad?
Right.
Let's lean towards good. No, like don't lean
Let's
towards
assume
bad.
best intention.
I know, so crazy. But love the alien stuff for sure. Okay. Anything else for you want to summarize a poop?
I don't think so.
Okay. It's time for the Sweetie synopsis.
Yes, sweeties.
Guess it wasn't the dove.
Earth, circa 1997 or 6 or whatever time this movie was made, pretty much. So we're gonna visit a couple different places, pretty much. But general gist, guys, is that the Hubble telescope has captured some evidence of aliens, Martians from Mars. Did you know that Martians are just aliens from Mars?
Yes,
it took me so long to understand that.
First of all, that term is like super outdated now. I feel like you never hear it.
Well, it's synonymous. For a while, it was like synonymous like with all aliens.
Yes, I know.
Kind of in the way that like Q-tip is like a Q-tip, but it also is just a brand name. But it's like actually that's specific. Or like sparkling wine, like Rob Lowe in Wayne's World when he's like, actually champagne.
I know. I just had to give that lecture to somebody. I think it was Jimmy.
But these Martians, wow, crazy. So they have evidence of this. They don't know too much about them. In the beginning, there's a scene where like they torch a herd of cows. I don't know if no one found out about that or like that was a separate incident from what the Hubble telescope found, but like it seems to me that's pretty good indication that like they're not friendly, but whatever. Right. So everyone's excited about this, and like I said, they're assuming best intentions that these aliens are peaceful. Although some people disagree. There's like an army guy who's like, we need to blow them up, and then there's another army guy that's like, they'll be fine. So mostly though, people are excited. So you have the DC crowd, which is the president, basically politics, blah blah blah. You've got Las Vegas, where we meet Byron, who is the retired fighter. Who's supporting his family back in DC. Someone was in New York, but I don't know who now, because I guess they were in DC, his family. Maybe Sarah Jessica Parker and
probably.
So that they're in NY. And then Kansas, which has fields and a donut shop as the only source of entertainment. And that's where we kind of meet like our sort of main character. And there's not really a main character, but I would say Richie is the character that like you're supposed to align with, I suppose. He's like this young kid. He has a terrible family. They live in a trailer park. His brother is Jack Black. He's like an army douche brat. Sucks. And then he has this sweet little grandma who's like obviously a little loopy. They have her in a home, but you can tell that like she likes him and no one else really. So they have like a sweet little relationship. So that's like our main cast and crew there, or like time, scenery, whatever. So first kind of big thing that happens is they decide they're gonna make contact with the aliens. The aliens send coordinates where they're gonna land. So they have like these scientists who developed this like thing that translates what the aliens like acts into real words. So they use that. Everybody's all excited about it. People are showing up. They're like holding signs. They're really
very
convinced.
similar to Independence
Yeah,
Day.
they're very convinced that this is going to be like a happy time.
I wonder if it really, all those movies that portray the people on Earth being so like welcoming seems incorrect.
I would not. I would
Right?
be. I mean, but is that just because we see all these movies and like in their time, like they didn't have these movies in the 90s because I don't know. But you're right. People are overly always optimistic about the aliens.
I'm like, what? That just seems like that
And
actually wouldn't
I
happen,
think,
and then you'd be more scared.
yeah. I mean, I think just like proceed with caution is what I would recommend with aliens. So these aliens come. They send an ambassador.
Especially ones that
Okay,
this sounds terrible, but like, I'm sorry, I'm being prejudiced to the aliens, but when they look scary and yucky, like of course they're gonna be bad.
But they probably think we're yucky. That's what Pierce Brosnan's character said. Like they probably think we're ugly and disgusting.
That's true.
So yeah, so they come and they are these crazy looking aliens with like these giant brains and really kind of like skeleton faces, and then they have these little like weird flaps on the side of their face that are like gills, but like skeleton
just
gills.
like hangy, stretched out earlobes.
They were like way down here though, like on the chin.
I know.
I don't know.
They did look like
I don't know.
the Messiah warrior earlobes.
Yeah,
Ever seen
kind
those?
of. So their main costume is this like little red Speedo, and then they have these little classic like astronaut kind of spaceman suits with the helmet and like little green, and then these little guns that look like water gun, like squirt guns.
Yeah, seems again very 50s classic Space Invader.
and they have
right? And the
classic flying
classic
saucers, just like the silver little disc. They're like, doop. So they land, they come, they have this kind of like exchange where everything seems to be going great. And then like this douche nozzle in the crowd is like, they came in peace. And he releases a dove. And the aliens are freaked out and they shoot it. And then they think they're being threatened and then they freak out and kill everyone. So my question is, were they actually in peace, or was this always a ruse?
I think it always was a ruse.
Yeah, and I think it was just like they were just pretending so that they could like kill them, and the bird just kind of like sped things up a little bit. So all hell breaks loose. They're killing everybody with these guns, and these guns are like crazy space guns. They fry you instantly and then turn your bones green. So that's a very Tim Burton, and that's a very Tim Burton touch, I would say. Very like strange thing, little detail that he would just like stick in there for sure. So we lose a lot of people. We lose Michael J. Fox. We lose the Army colonel, not his hand. We lose Jack Black, rest in peace. All of this is being broadcast on television somehow still. So the world's kind of like freaking out a little bit. But then they decide, you know what? I think it was just a miscommunication. I think the bird just like freaked him out. It's going to be fine. So they try again. And this time they fucking like invite the aliens to Congress, which... Whoa.
The alien suggested that because that was their plan to be like, oh, let's go to another place.
We
and
let
like
them
kill a bunch of important
and
people.
so obviously in this movie there's this theme of like bad decisions being made by the American government, which is 100% one of the themes in these movies in the 50s was like, why are we so stupid? We keep making the same decisions. And this happens a lot throughout the movie where it's just like so wrong and we're just like, yep, we'll do that. So they toast Congress. They get Congress in like one swoop. Boom. Legislative branch gone. Axed. Dunzo. The president's like kind of freaking out. Is not sure what they should do now. They try to nuke the aliens. Doesn't work. They have like some crazy weapon that repels it, and like they just use it as like gas. What is that called? Nitrous oxide to like make their voice helium to make their voice high. So nothing's working here. So really now they're taking over the world. So they get to like the other countries. They infiltrate the White House to kill the president. The first lady dies. The dog dies, which is like devastating. I don't need to touch on that too much, but obviously that scarred me for life when I was little. And so pretty now it's kind of just about survival. So the key, and this happens in every Alien movie, not just in the ones in the 50s, but specifically the ones that came out in the 90s, where once you find out like the key to killing the aliens,
their Achilles heel.
Yeah, their Achilles heel, if you will. It all becomes pretty simple. So in Signs, it was water. Who knew? Independence Day, I guess not really one there, other than like crashing the mother. I guess once they got the mothership, that was like the key. This is, and I don't know what style. It's like yodeling cowboy style music, which is like I thought was Hank Williams when I was little, but I guess it's this. And I missed the name on the record, but it just this song that's like that kind of music. Aliens can't stand it. It makes their giant brains explode in this green goo. And so that's how they kill them. So then Richie like pipes this over the radio waves. Somehow this part's kind of like they kind of gloss over it, but somehow everybody else figures out that they have to play this record as well. So they just like put it on helicopters and they fly around and get all the aliens. So finally all the aliens die, but unfortunately they destroyed a lot of the world, or most of it. All of our precious landmarks destroyed. So we really have to rebuild. It's a rebuilding period. But they're dead, and so and then obviously
all those aliens.
Yeah, and the
cleanup. I think we've talked about this in other movies, and we did in Independence Day too. Like, what was that cleanup like?
Bad, like pretty bad.
I mean, I guess imagine like 9/11.
Right, that's what I was just thinking.
The entire
I was like,
world.
That's and like way worse. So obviously there's a lot of like side things in there that I didn't talk about, but kind of on purpose. But that's the general plot, if you will. So for me, the thing about this movie, when I saw it when I was a little younger, I think it did scare me a little bit because I think I had a weird fear of like alien invasions. Signs didn't help anything, obviously. This movie comes out, I'm like, oh my God, this is terrifying. Like the comedy aspect of it went like right over my head. Oh. Not right over my head, but like it was enough that I was like, all these people are dying and nobody cares. I don't get it. And it just freaked me out, the like instantaneous death of those squirt gun things. And just all these characters and like famous people that I knew were just like being killed off in this movie. Yeah, that's good. It's a good name. And it just like really alarmed me. And I just kept putting myself in the position. Any disaster. This is why I don't like disaster movies, because I always put myself in that position. Oh, totally. And I'm always like, what would I do in this situation? And then I have a mental crisis about it.
Well, so there's also a string of those, if you remember. And I was like,
and I didn't watch them.
Why were these out? Why would you want to go see a disaster movie?
Armageddon? No thanks.
Armageddon, Deep Impact. Like, why would you want to like watch like a potential, because okay, it's a small chance it'll happen, but it could happen, right? Just like playing out before your eyes, so scary. I too like have struggled with that a little bit, and I'm always like, what would I do if like aliens ran over the earth and like you're just trying to survive and you're probably not going to make it, but you're just like running and you don't know like where you're going to go, kind of a thing. My question is, it's pretty weird that we haven't had an alien invasion. Okay.
That we know of.
No one wants a shitty planet. That's like one theory, right?
I don't know. Like, I mean, they're going to release those alien, things, reports soon, hopefully. Yeah. So maybe we'll find out something.
Has it been covered up? That's theory number one, right? Has it happened or tried to, and governments like...
Yeah, it seems to be the...
Cover it up. I don't think governments are that good. I mean, they seem really disorganized. So I'm saying that's like not something that like every single like there's not one way something got through, I just can't believe it.
I mean, yeah.
It seems weird. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, maybe like other life is just too far away. They haven't figured it out. Hard to believe also, because I don't think we're the most like intelligent.
No.
Whatever. There's got to be like more.
The worst.
Option number three, like I said, no one wants this shitty planet. No one wants to deal with our bullshit. And we've already started to ruin it. So they're like, well, why would we want that planet?
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me that it's all just like fiction, that there hasn't been other, life forms trying to colonize other planets and
The
stuff like that.
universe is a vast place, and it's very, it could be like there are aliens, but they're so far advanced that they're like 50,000 years ahead of us because of like how far
Right.
away
Why would
galaxies
they
are
want
and
us?
stuff. So we're probably
But
just
then
like,
wouldn't that mean that they would
we're
be
just
able to
plebes.
contact us?
We're just plebes to them.
But wouldn't they at
don't
least
care.
want to contact?
Why?
I don't
So they can
know.
be like, we're smarter than you.
I don't know. Aren't they interested
No, they
in
don't care.
like other life? I don't
care.
know. It's weird. As Jodie Foster says,
knows?
we are not alone.
We are not.
I bet we aren't,
alone.
but we're probably never going to see it in our lifetime, which is
Aliens
a
are with us.
bummer.
But okay, so sorry, I just ate a clementine because I just feel like I need something in my mouth, and I know that's a rule in podcasting: don't eat. Don't eat. So, guys, the reason this movie spooked me so much, though, was one scene in particular, which is we didn't mention Lisa Marie is in this, who's not to be confused with Lisa Marie Presley.
I really thought it was.
I know.
She, like,
For a
kinda
while.
does look like her
Right.
as the alien,
I guess.
not like the
Well,
real woman.
She's always in like character clothes and like she's kind of a character actress. She was Vampira in Ed Wood, and if you've seen Sleepy Hollow, she was Lady Crane. So she has kind of a lot of like non-speaking and like quiet kind of roles. So she plays this alien who I like think of as like probably was like an alien secret agent kind of thing, who puts on this woman costume, and it's her. And she's just so alien-esque in this outfit. She's very tall. She has this huge wig on that's like covering up their giant brain, and she's wearing this skin-tight dress with like glitter spirals on it. And she walks with like floating, and then her arms are like doing this like creepy. Oh my god! I have a
scary.
thing about levitation and like people floating. So this scene really like fucked me up because she just freaked me the fuck out, and I was like, I don't want anything to do with her. I need to get out of this place. And then it culminates in her biting Martin Short's finger off and spitting it into the fish tank. No, thank you. So that scene freaked me out. And I still today watching it, I'd say it's probably the eeriest part of the movie. It's definitely the part that feels the most Tim Burton-esque.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know if that's because like his muse is Lisa Marie, so he really like gravitated to this scene. But it's a very effective scene. And this was another part where like the ineptitude of the government again. It's like they're like, we're on lockdown. Sorry, I didn't know you were knocking at the door. And he's like, I'm just bringing this like weird girl here. And they're like, sure, she can come in. She's kind of floating and is tall with a giant wig. But yeah, let's let her in. Like no security check. Very silly. And she just like knows where to go in the White House and knows exactly where the president's bedroom is. This alien is business.
I really liked her eyeball ring. It was a cool fashion statement, but also functional,
Yeah.
as it was like
camera.
a camera, so the other little aliens would know what was going on.
Yeah, does kill the dog though. Very sad.
Yes. Oh, I
Very-
really did not expect that.
very
The
sad.
dog is like attached to the first family, and yeah, it's the first one to get killed. Yeah, that was a bummer.
But yeah, that scene always sticks out for me, for sure. What else? Do any other scenes stick out to you?
I mean, it's another part that was very Tim Burton-y was all so like I said, like on the ship, it's like weird alien stuff going on, but they're obsessed with experiments where they like cut off so they take some people onto the ship to do experiments on, which is like a pretty stereotypical alien thing too, right? And they are obsessed with cutting the heads off the bodies that they do steal and like putting them onto other things. So you have Sarah Jessica Parker gets decapitated and her head gets put into like a jar or for a while, and then gets put on her dog's body, and then her dog gets put on her body. Yeah, the
Yep.
dog head gets put
They
on her
switch.
body. Pierce Brosnan gets brought into the ship, and he just like head gets cut off, and then he's just like it's just
his whole
floating.
he's like all his body
yeah,
parts
all
are
his body
everywhere,
parts are like everywhere.
but they're still like cognizant, so it's
Right.
weird. Yeah,
really weird.
Creepy.
And they have like a whole relationship, just like the heads talking. It's kind of sweet,
they
actually.
do have like a very romantic last kiss. that is also very like in these movies. You'd always have those like Hollywood kisses where it's just like kind of out of place, but they're just like and they just kiss.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy
But like
that.
everything on the ship was really kind of spooky and scary, and I liked all that stuff. I remember from the previews of this movie was like all the cracks about the government. So I remember like in the trailer, they had the grandmother being like, they blew up Congress, ha ha, like laughing about it. And then you had the president being like, just want people to know there's still like 2 houses of government left. And like, and that's not bad. And like, so I remember there was all this like,
weird.
Yeah, this like anti-government like jokes were in the plot. I mean, the plot in the trailer to kind of make people like, ha ha ha, like government sucks. Government sucks. It's gonna be funny. I mean, this was like 1996. So you're talking about like post like Bill Clinton time, and where people were very, you know, they always distrust the government, but like they really hated him, especially once the Monica Lewinsky stuff came out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess a couple. Yeah. So the nods. So some of my favorite nods to like 50s or like sci-fi movies. So my favorite thing is the big red phone, which is like always something that I look for, and I love this trope. But always in like American like military movies or like spy movies or like, you know, a very get smart thing is this, like you have this giant red phone that the president has, and you can just like pick it up, and it's supposed to, you can just like go anywhere, is like how they kind of build that. So of course there's one of those in here. And there's also like a war room, which is very like, they always had those in these 50s movies. Like they always had the president or the army in this like weird, like crazy room with all these clocks on the wall. Like that was a very 50s thing. And in general, just like the armed forces as like pseudo heroes, I feel like is always also a big trope. Like the armed forces always think they are the shit and that like they can beat anything. And then they're always like annihilated with like one button pretty much. And you're like, oh, okay, well, we tried. And they're always nothing really. That's usually what it comes down to. It's usually like one guy who saves the day. It's never the armed forces. It's just always like a failure of our government or I don't know what that says about those movies, but yeah. So those are kind of some of my favorite stuff. But some of the characters, I guess, also. I think my favorite character, especially upon watching this again, is the Annette Bening character.
Really?
Yeah, I just think she's so. I love that like kind of airhead, like peace loving kind of woman, and she's really kind of unrecognizable. Like it took me a while to realize that it was Annette Bening. I was like, wait a minute, is that Annette Bening? Like,
it reminded me of the character in Independence Day, the like friend who goes up to the building.
And then I got confused, and I was like, does she die? Does she die right away? And then I was like, oh fuck, that's the other movie. Shit. But yeah, I love that. I also love the Byron side plot. Like I thought when I was little, I was obsessed with him. I was like, I was so obsessed. I remember watching this movie, and Mom was watching it with me, and she kept being like, "That's Jim Brown," and I was like, "I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is." And I thought he was just so cool, and I was like, I think I cried or like almost cried when you think he dies, like when all the aliens cried around him. And this was like at some point in my life, I just like was really concerned and loved. I don't know. Is this racist? Like I was.
I know what you're gonna say.
Any movie, anything, black character, I was like, they are my favorite. I love them so much. I don't want anything to happen to them. And so when something bad would happen to him, it was just really, it shook me. And I was like, no, Mom. I was like, he can't die. And she's like, just keep watching. And maybe Mom had seen the movie. I don't know.
Whoa.
And then when he comes back at the end and he like stomps on the alien brain, I was like, yes.
Well, here's the thing that they didn't like, it was in a plane, you're like watching the aliens surround him, but you don't actually see him like bite the dust. So that's like
which is always, especially in a movie where they're not afraid of showing that. You have to like, it's like Game of Thrones. Like when you don't see somebody actually die, assume they didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So Jim Brown, former big football player.
What team?
I don't know, Jimmy. Who did he play for, honey? The Browns?
The Browns? Oh, Jim Brown played for the Browns?
Yeah, Jim Brown.
That's crazy.
That's an easy way to remember that. But if you ever see that movie, the one that came out last year that Regina King did, the Miami one, One Night in Miami? Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Isn't he in that, honey? Jim Brown, remember? He's one of the guys. So it's like these like big, famous African Americans of the time are like meeting in Miami. And they did actually like hang out one night, but it's like a fictional account of like what they talked about. And it's very like smart movie. There's a lot of like discussion about race and everything. So you have Sam Cooke, you have Malcolm X, you have Jim Brown, you have Muhammad Ali. Yep. Good movie. Kind of like, again, very chatty. So it was like a lot of just like kind of deep conversations these guys are having, but very good. And he's one of the guys. So Jim Brown. And he was like an actor. Wasn't he in like Rambo or like something? Or
Rocky?
He had like a movie career. They were like putting him in movies. Because that was like part of that movie. The Night in Miami movie was that he was like getting ready to do like acting roles, I remember. He like quit football or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Anyway, interesting. Yeah, so not a boxer, guys. Football player. I mean, he looks like it. He's huge. Yeah, I really like that character too. And so they do this thing with his sons, who are named great names. Ready? Neville and Terrence. Cedric. Yeah. Neville. I just like.
I know. What is this,
like
Harry
a little
Potter?
kid who's
Tom
named
Jones?
Neville. In the 90s. That's nuts. Anyway, so they're always like ditching school and they are playing this video game where it's like a shoot 'em up video game with like, aliens that look just like the aliens that invade.
But it's like a weird game where like there's just a static picture of an alien on the screen and you just shoot at it, which is like a strange game. And so they skip school and like are missing for 2 days, and she finds them, the mom, Pam Grier, playing at an arcade this game. Turns out they have this game at home. So I was like, why
they're
did
just
they
like obsessed with it? Okay, when she said they were missing for 2 days, I thought they were older kids. I didn't know that they were like in elementary school. I was like, what? Crazy.
Probably middle school.
But anyway, so then that gets transitioned to, they're so good at this video game that they're able to like pick up the aliens' ray guns and start shooting them up in the White House and save the day for a little
that was a really fun scene. And they were like, why are you guys standing around? Get the president out of here. Like, they were great. They kicked butt. There's later scenes with them like also killing aliens in like their hometown. So yeah, I loved that whole side plot for sure. It was one of my faves. Do not love the Jack Nicholson weird casino guy character. It is, and when you know the backstory, it's like, okay, yeah, I kind of get that. But he's just annoying, and it's just a chance for Jack Nicholson to be like insufferable, which like I don't always love.
And it felt like, and this happened later, but like he looked kind of also like Tom Cruise when they like did that with Tom Cruise, where they like put him in another role.
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, he just like looked like that, or another movie too, where he was like dressed up and was like icky looking like that. Yeah, just reminded me of that.
X. Did you have any other favorite characters or parts?
I mean, I like Natalie Portman. Very like a small role.
Very
but,
like
effective.
Over life.
Yeah.
Even though, so when I was little, I remember being like, oh my god, pizza on demand when you're like the daughter of the president. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I do love that.
Bad pizza. It looked burned. Just want to say.
Like cafeteria pizza.
I did. And I mean, I love the grandma though. The grandma character is really awesome in this. She's so cute and is like, you know, one of those things where has some sort of Alzheimer's or dementia, but she's like still also though kind of with it still.
She's totally with it.
Yeah. Love it.
She's just like, why did I get? Yeah, she's like, why is my family the worst except for Sweet Richie? She loves her music. She stuffs her dead cat and like pets it. She's basically my idol. I love her. And like this is like a random part, but I love at the end where like the aliens have like killed everybody, and the only band that they have to play is this like little mariachi band. And one of the mariachi guys has like a full like head bandage, and they're still like doo, doo, doo. And the grandma's like holding her ears like ugh. I don't know, it's just like a little touch that I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
So there's like always like couple little touches like that in this movie that I just
needed more of those.
Yeah.
It really felt like, and especially the beginning up till like the aliens come, it's just kind of like and once the aliens kind of get rolling,
there's just a lot going on. Like you can't really focus on character development so much when you have a movie of this size of like cast and all these. There's another movie like that too where it's like they focus so much on these cameos and these roles that like you miss a lot of
New Year's Day.
No,
you
just miss
the holidays where they're all in those.
That was a dark period. I blacked it out. But you just like you can't really focus on like character development and story when you have those many characters because you're constantly switching back to get all the characters. So I feel like you lose a lot. So moral of the story is, guys, don't cast too many people. Don't cast too many stars in your movie.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it helps. But overall, fun little romp.
Yeah,
really,
it's a fun romp.
I mean, everyone dies pretty much, more or less. And animals die. Yeah, dogs die. It's not my favorite thing, but it's a decent flick, and it's one of Jimmy's favorites. So see it for him. Watch it for him, and laugh. Is anything else?
No.
Before I wrap it up. All right. Well, thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Santos. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye. Jack Nicholson is the.
Oh, I was going to say the Martin Short character.
Oh, yeah. Martin Short, rape artist. JFK room, please.
Yeah, please. Bye.